oats milk latte drinking, avocado toast eating.
Life is hard, but it's harder when you're stupid.
Can I take cocaine with my spouse?
No, sir. No, sir.
I did not call Senator Sanders an ignorant.
I'm not talking about buying it, but let's suppose I came in one day and the cocaine was there.
People who are bilingual, they speak English and stupid.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Benny. I am expecting my third child any day now. Part of my fight from this chair in this studio has been to protect children for that exact fact. Now, you don't have to be a father, you don't have to have kids to understand that you must protect children. If you're just a moral person, you understand this. If you're a Christian, of course, there are many commandments about protecting children. You get a big, large rock tied around your neck and thrown into the ocean if you harm the hairs on one of these kids. And so, whether it's Bud Light or Target or Disney, it's all about protecting the kids. And that is the line in the sand we draw on this program. Why are you always trying to do drag shows to little kids at libraries? Why? Why aren't you doing drag shows in senior citizen homes? That don't make no sense. Why aren't you doing drag shows for homeless people? It's always the little kids, and so they always want to shove pornography into these libraries, and it is for a very malevolent and evil reason. Now, part of the beautiful moment that we're living in is that they are in an indefensible position, right? Meaning the left that wishes to subject our children to sexual displays or to any type of practices that are overtly sexual, whether that be pornography in schools or whether that be drag queen story hour, this kind of stuff is indefensible. So all you have to do is expose it and you win. And that is what happened in the U.S. Senate today with Senator Kennedy. Now, we've been a big fan of Senator Kennedy. He's from Louisiana for a very long time. Senator Kennedy decided to get a bunch of librarians together, a bunch of Marxist education professionals from various states together, and to read to them some of the books that they wish to put into our libraries, to read to them passages from books like Genderqueer. Now, these are the books that they are openly advocating for kids to have access to. And this is the most shocking and awkward moment in U.S. Senate history. Look at the reactions to these leftist Marxists when the books that they demand that your children and my children have access to are read before them in public. It is indefensible, their position, and so it is so easy to utterly destroy. Watch.
Us to do. Let's take two books that have been much discussed. The first one is called All Boys Aren't Blue, and I will quote from it. I put some lube on and got him on his knees, and I began to slide into him from behind. I pulled out of him and kissed him while he masturbated. He asked me to turn over while he slipped a condom on himself. This was my ass, and I was struggling to imagine someone inside me. He got on top and slowly inserted himself into me. It was the worst pain I think I have ever felt in my life. Eventually, I felt a mix of pleasure with the pain. Close quote. All boys aren't blue. The second is another much discussed book. I'm sure you're familiar with it. It's called Genderqueer. Okay? Let me read an excerpt from that. Quote, I got a new strap-on harness today. I can't wait to put it on you. It will fit my favorite dildo perfectly. You're going to look so hot. I can't wait to have your in my mouth. I'm going to give you the job of your life. Then I want you inside of me. End quote. Now, Mr. Secretary, what are you asking us to do? Are you suggesting that only librarians should decide whether the two books that I just referenced should be available to kids? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay. Tell me what you're saying.
Well, first of all, there's this...
Don't give me a speech. Tell me what you're asking me to do.
With all due respect, Senator, the words you spoke are disturbing, especially coming out of your mouth is very disturbing. But what I would also tell you that we're not advocating for kids to read porn, to Senator Booker's point.
What are you advocating for?
We are advocating for parents, random parents, not to have the ability, under the guise of keeping kids safe, to try and challenge the world view of every single manner on these issues.
You're getting conceptual game.
I'm not getting conceptual. I'm saying
yes, you are. Yes, you are. Because I want to know what you're recommending. It sounds to me like what...
Senator Kennedy is a real one for that. What a brave man. And what a despicable and grotesque display. We like the bleep button. We had to like break our fingers off hitting the bleep button on that clip in order to just get the video online. This is how disgusting it is. In my state of Florida, Governor DeSantis read from these books before banning them, obviously, some of these filthy pornographic books, read from these books, and all of the news broadcasts, I've never seen anything like this, all the news broadcasts had to shut down their broadcasts because their FCC compliancy with these broadcasts, and if you break those rules, then you'll get your broadcast license stripped from you. So the news channels couldn't even broadcast the governor of my state reading from these books. Not the first or last time that Senator Kennedy has exposed this Marxist ideology to confuse and to unmoor from reality and from human design our children. Senator Kennedy was questioning one of the radical activists who wish to postulate the theory that there are infinite genders. Oh man, it is amazing just to pin these people down and expose them. All you must do is ask a series of very simple, honest questions. Why aren't more Republicans this good on these issues? Watch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks to all of our witnesses here today. Ms. Robinson, I want to follow up by trying to understand your answer to one of Senator Cruz's questions. And this is really a question, not a suggestion. Do I understand your position to be that there are two sexes, but there can be more than two genders?
I wouldn't even say two, and we've got Dr. Lopez here as well, but there's also the definition of intersex. I think that often in these conversations we're conflating sex and gender, and I do want to affirm here that trans women are women. That is their gender.
Okay, but I'm trying to understand. Do you make a distinction between sex and gender?
Yes, sir.
Okay, explain that. Do you think there are more than two sexes?
I believe that there's a definition for intersex as well that I want to acknowledge. But sex is assigned at birth.
I'm just trying to understand. I'm thoroughly confused. So you're born, I'm talking about biology, male, female, and what else?
I believe that intersex is also acknowledged. But again, I'm not a doctor here. What I can
and
say
what does intersex mean?
Is that there's a difference between sex and gender. And I think in these conversations we're conflating the two.
Well, but I want to start with sex. Okay, there's male, there's female. When a baby's born, before the baby has had time to even have a sense of self, there's male, female, and intersex. There's a third sex.
I believe that is true, but I would defer to Dr. Lopez as I'm not a physician.
Okay. And how many genders are there?
I think the gender is expansive, and the definitions are always growing. Today I can tell you, I talk to young people that talk about non-binary as...
More than five?
I think the gender is not a binary, is what I'm trying to say.
But are there more than five genders? I'm just trying to understand. Are there more than five genders?
Well, I think that there was a time where women wearing pants didn't feel like it was appropriate for their gender, and yet I'm wearing pants today. I think that there are ways that we express our gender that are expansive.
Are there more than five?
I wouldn't subject myself to naming how many genders there are, but what I can say is
there
that
an
gender is a
infinite
reflection.
number?
Excuse me?
There's an infinite number of genders?
I think depending on your culture, there are a lot of different genders that exist. And I can also say that it's a term that's evolving. If you look at young people today, they really don't lean into the binary of only woman and man. So I think that it's incumbent upon us not to legislate on this, but create space for them to explore what their identities are, what their gender identities are.
Let's get back to athletics.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you've watched this far, you know that we are, of course, massive fans of Senator Kennedy. We very much look forward to having him on the program. We have yet to have him booked on the program. That is something we will change. We will change it because we must have a moment like this on our show. Senator Kennedy at his very best, a true American legend. Take it away.
Goat's milk latte drinking, avocado toast eating.
Life is hard, but it's harder when you're stupid.
Can I take cocaine with my spouse?
No, sir. No, sir.
I did not call Senator Sanders an ignorant.
I'm not talking about buying it, but let's suppose I came in one day and the cocaine was there.
People who are bilingual, they speak English and stupid. I don't know why we have to give money to countries that hate us. They should be able to hate us for free. Looks like we're giving Lindsay Lohan the keys to the minibar. President Biden is sort of like Kevin Bacon at the end of Animal House, the cantina bar scene out of Star Wars. They wanted it like Ben wants J-Lo. I'm like Bluto in Animal House. I'm just fat, drunk, and stupid. Frankly, I can't because I can't get my head that far up my rear end. Stick it up there, fact checker. They can kiss my ass. Somebody at the White House has been smoking the devil's lettuce, okay? We cannot run the greatest economy by putting fairy dust and unicorn urine in our cars. Urinate to get off the pot. My car doesn't run off fairy dust. My car doesn't run off unicorn urine. The spending porn on pet projects, it's just chock full of spending porn. There's an enormous amount of spending porn. Next time you get in trouble, call a crackhead, call a criminal, call a meth head.
It must suck to be that dumb.
I don't mean disrespect, but the mayor needs to take her meds.
Christmas ornaments, drywall, and Jerry Epstein. Name 3 things that don't hang themselves.